The final week of the preseason is upon us, and there are still plenty of questions surrounding the Dallas Cowboys prior to the season opener on September 9th against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we, our special edition, going to do our best to try and answer as many of those questions as we can here over the next half hour. Alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, all three former Cowboys. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad to be with you. And gentlemen, one more game for Coach Mike McCarthy and his entire staff to answer these questions and to put the Cowboys in a position to potentially win some games this year and go for another playoff push. But I ask you, Isaiah, to start things off, what is the biggest challenge surrounding that staff entering the final preseason game?
Yeah, I think this staff has to figure out exactly, do they have their number 2 quarterback on this roster currently? This is the competition that's dwindled down primarily down to Cooper Rush and Gary Gilbert. Ben DiNucci has kind of excused himself out of that running. But do they have their number 2 guy? We're going to find out.
Yeah, for me, it's who's going to fill the shoes of Neville Gallimore. Like, this is a guy that I thought is going to make a similar year 2 jump as CD Lamb. And as we knew last year, offenses attacked us in the middle of the field. They ran the ball right down our throats. So who's going to step up in his state for the first couple seasons or the first couple games that he'll miss this season? Brett Urban, Bohanna? Who's it going to be? I think this Jacksonville game will decide.
And, of course, I'm going to the offensive line. Who is our swing tackles? Who is going to be our backup center? Is it Connor Williams or some guy that's on another roster? Tyler Biadasz has not played a full season. He got a little banged up last year. So the big question is, will this offense, the offensive line, be intact?
So a lot of the questions surrounding the depth on the field, but also there's some challenges off the field a little bit this week for Coach Mike McCarthy, where multiple players, 6 to be exact, and then also another coach thrown into COVID protocols. And here's what he had to say about the preparation that his staff has to endure whenever going up against challenges quite like that.
My job is to make sure that we have a plan regardless of what happens. So, just the timing of it right before the 90 minutes, whatever it was before the kickoff. So after the game was completed, we came in as coaches yesterday, and we went into a virtual format just to be safe. I think just like most things we do, we're just being cautious and want to make sure that we contain this outbreak and just be smart with that. And we have enough experience with the virtual format, and that's really what we did. We turned on the virtual format was the exact verbiage that I used.
Coach McCarthy brought to you by Nationwide. Here's a look at the exact names of the players, and along with defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, who have been placed into COVID-19 protocol going into the matchup with the Jacksonville Jaguars in the final preseason game. So, Isaiah, I ask you this, how tough of a task is it to replace players like this, and more importantly, the time that they'll miss?
It was very difficult, especially going into your last preseason game. It's not something that you want to be dealing with. But if you were going to be dealing with it, you'd rather have it go on now instead of during the regular season.
Oh, you're right, Isaiah. I mean, at least it's happening now in the preseason where the W's and L's really don't mean that much. But now they get a better understanding that even if it is close contact, those 5 games, if it happens on Thursday, it could be a situation come the regular season. But like I said, right now it's the preseason, not a big deal.
And Carlos Watkins is in the mix in that rotation with the defensive tackles, defensive ends. So we need to see him play. We need to know that he's going to be fit. But like you said, better now than later.
You could say the same thing on the backside of the defense for guys like Israel Mukuamu, who need that playing time as a rookie to show in the preseason that you belong on the roster. So definitely challenges, but like you said, at least it's the preseason, still less than 2 weeks away from the season opener against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But how has rookie Micah Parsons shown his stuff throughout the preseason and proved he's already the best linebacker on the roster? We break it down with Barry right after this.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Salvation Army, doing the most good. And by AT&T. This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the new Gem 7 scratch tickets. There's a Gem 7 scratch ticket for everyone, so play today.
2 of the 8 highest graded linebackers in the NFL preseason, according to Pro Football Focus, are employed by the Dallas Cowboys. One of those has been Keanu Neal, who's sitting up at 2. The other one was first-round rookie Micah Parsons, who has been all over the field throughout the NFL preseason. And no better person to break down what you've seen so far in the first 3 games of his NFL career than Barry Church. And Barry, I ask you the simple question. What has Micah done this preseason to impress you so far?
He's done pretty much everything at an extremely high level. I mean, this is a guy, our first-round pick, who's basically making it seem like he's the best linebacker we have out of all 4 guys. I mean, he's one of the most physical. He's best in coverage. And now we get to break down an opportunity to see how good this guy can really be.
Well, let's take a look at going back to the Arizona game. And this is him playing in the Mike linebacker spot. But stopping the run was a problem for this Cowboys defense last year. How does he improve that?
Yeah, we know that was a huge problem for the Cowboys last year as we were giving up yards on top of yards. But as we see right here, Micah Parsons in his middle linebacker role, I think that's his natural position at that middle linebacker. And we see his vision right here. His vision is on the guard right here because he's got to see if that combo block is happening, he knows it's a run and he's able to shoot his gun and go ahead and make the play. So if we go ahead and run the play at a slow clip here, boom, pause it right there. We see that combo block has happened. Now look at Micah Parsons shooting his gun already downhill. That's what we need out of our linebackers. We need them to run downhill, get through these blockers so that we're able to minimize the gain of the running back. Right here, Micah Parsons, and let's run the play slowly, please. He's able to just disregard that left tackle. Let's pause it right there. He disregarded that left tackle or that left guard like he wasn't even there, threw him to the side, and that's what makes him one of the most physical linebackers that we have on our team. These guys outweigh him by at least 70 pounds, but he's able to go in there, shuck them off easily, and let's just run the play and see what happens. Micah Parsons easily right there at the line of scrimmage makes the play against the run, and what I love most about this play, at the point of attack, he wasn't going forward. There wasn't any leaky yardage by the running back. At the point of attack, he was going either in the dirt or backwards. And in my opinion, that makes you one of the better linebackers. At the point of attack, what are you able to do? And as we see Micah Parsons here against the run, he's able to push these guys backwards. And that's what we need a part of our defense.
And you saw a little bit of the quick trigger there, which is certainly going to help him in the run defense, but in the passing game as well, going up against especially leakage out of the backfield, it's going to help him out there too.
Yeah, let's check out his coverage ability as well. Once again, he's lined up at that middle linebacker. He has this guy, Rex Burkhead, who in my opinion is one of the better running backs out of the backfield when it comes to running routes. And we saw last year, that can be a problem for our linebacker crew. We got exposed a little bit in the past when we got running backs coming out of the backfield. So here we go right here, Micah Parsons one-on-one with Rex Burkhead. Let's go ahead and run the play a little bit. Pause it right here. As we see, Micah Parsons' vision is all on Rex Burkhead right here. His man-to-man coverage ability is off the charts, and we're going to need that going forward to this season because we cannot get exposed against the running backs we have coming out of the backfield like we did last year. Let's slowly run the play. And pause it right here. As we see, Micah Parsons sees Rex Burkhead breaking out, and just take a glimpse at how fast this guy is. He leaps off the tape when it comes to his just speed off the ball. I understand he ran a 4.39, but sometimes those 4.3s don't show up on the field. But for this instance, this guy is quick, fast, and he gets places in a hurry. Let's run the play. As we see, he's able to do an amazing job of closing that cushion. Yes, Rex Burkhead caught the pass. Yes, he got 5 yards. But as we see in the past, this right here, my friends, that little 5-yard catch in the past would have turned up the field for an extra 30 yards in yak. Right now, we have one of the fastest linebackers in the National Football League. He's able to close that cushion and make a minimal gain out of a minimal pass, and that's what we need for this defense.
Able to beat the receiver or the running back to the sideline is something that this linebacker group has been waiting to see from a guy as athletic as Micah Parsons. Like you said, that would have been a first down, I think,
without a doubt,
any other year prior. What about this one? Because this one ended up being a little bit different than the first 2 we saw.
Yeah, this right here is an example of his motor, his want to, his finish, his just pride out there and passion for being a Dallas Cowboy, and we see it right here. This is Micah Parsons, middle linebacker. Now, you can line him up anywhere. You can line him up over the A-gap. You can line him up at outside linebacker over there if you need be. But for this instance, they got him rushing over the center. And this is a guy that can play anywhere. He can cause havoc anywhere on the football field. But right now, they have him playing over the center, and they're going to rush him right here through this A-gap And we get an example of just how passionate, how fierce, how aggressive this guy can be at the line of scrimmage and his finish potential. So let's go ahead and run the play slowly, please. As we see, he gets off the ball extremely well. Pause it right here. In years past, this guy right here who would have made that blitz, I think he might have given up on the play right here.
It's a wash.
It's a wash. I'm blocked up right there. You know what? Let's chalk it up. Let's get to the next play. Not Micah Parsons. Let's run the play slowly. As we see, he's able to disregard the center right there. He still, pause it for me, he still has a left guard lynched on him. And you can just see the passion, the fight right here as he's able to fight through. Let's run the play slowly. He's able to fight through that and pause it right here. Once again, we get to see an example of the closing speed and the want-to, the passion that Micah Parsons has out here as he's able to chase down Tyrod Taylor, who, Kyle, is not a slow quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. As we run the play, he's able to chase down Tyrod Taylor. He's not set. He's not able to move, or not able to set his feet. He forces an incomplete pass. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Micah Parsons, and this is one of the biggest reasons, in my estimate, that the Cowboys defense will make a huge jump in 2021.
Well, he's been pushing for extra playing time and a little different rotation in the linebacker group, which is not alone because on the quarterback side of things, there's also been a shift in the quarterback thoughts. We'll talk about it next. Cooper Rush or Garrett Gilbert when we return to Special Edition.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. This segment is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you.
Just one more week for coaches and staff to put together some tough decisions surrounding the cuts in the final 53-man roster prior to the NFL regular season. Once again, Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton here on Special Edition. And guys, I want to ask, what's the spot on this roster that you were most concerned about? You feel pretty good, I think, about depth overall, but there are a couple spots where the depth is a question mark, and Isaiah, we'll start with you.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I'm very concerned with our backup quarterback position currently. I think Ben DiNucci obviously has excused himself with some of the play that he's had, and it's really down to Cooper Rush and Gary Gilbert. The pronounced kind of backup has been Gary Gilbert through most of camp, but coming up on this last week 3, Cooper Rush made an appearance, and he has a passing rating of 97 versus Gary Gilbert's 76. So the question is, are they going to perform in this last preseason game, and is it going to be good enough to be that second backup position underneath behind Dak Prescott?
Rush ended up earning some of those number one snaps throughout practice this past weekend. Like you said, had a couple of touchdown passes, which is more than you could say about Garrett Gilbert and Ben DiNucci. How about the guys they are throwing to, Barry?
Well, for me, it's not really of concern, but I'm going to keep my eye on this position battle, and that's for that 6 wide receiver spot between, in my opinion, Semi Fehoko and Malik Turner. Now, I thought Malik Turner might have had this position locked up because of his prowess on special teams, but he's unfortunately had an injury, and now we have Semi, the door's open for you. You got to go out there, and if I'm him, I'm not even looking at offense to do anything big. I'm doing whatever I can to make John's Bones Fossil happy and get on this special teams, because I think that's going to be his quickest route to making this 53-man roster.
That's a lot of players' quickest route is to make an impact on special teams. But what about the guys in front of the quarterbacks and the wide receivers? You got to have time to throw, right, Nate?
Definitely. And with Tyron Smith being the type of guy where he's been inconsistent with his play, not his play, but his injuries and stuff, we need for Ty and Sinke to be able to be that left tackle. We're looking for a lot of things from him, but he has to be that swing tackle, left and right, to fill that position. And I'm still worried about the center position with Williams. He's going to miss a lot of this game, but will he be?
Yeah, no, he's going to be.
He's going to miss the COVID game. So who is our backup center? So we have a few questions there.
Yeah, a bunch of questions on the offensive side. Maybe not with the starters, but definitely so behind the starters and behind the starting 11. Who has more pressure on them this week, though? The offense or the defense as the Jacksonville Jaguars come to town for the final preseason game of 2021?
This segment was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. This segment is brought to you by AT&T.
While nearly all of the starters for the Dallas Cowboys will not see any time during preseason game number 4, the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Urban Meyer said that most of their starters will see the field, including number 1 overall pick Trevor Lawrence. And we've got plenty of questions surrounding what we'll see on the field come this Sunday. And Nate, we're going to start with you. What unit do you most have your eyes on heading into this matchup?
Besides the offensive line, running back. Is we going to keep 2 or 3? Even if we had some injuries there, we're going to keep a fullback. So it's multiple things you're going to look at on offense. But right now it's going to be that offensive line and those running backs.
Kind of sticking with the offense here for a split second. Have you seen anything in this preseason that kind of worries you going into week 1? I know there hasn't been a whole lot of starters playing, but you mentioned the offensive line. What about the quarterback spot?
No, I'm not worried about that. The starting quarterback is not on this team. We just have to wait on the waiver wire and find out who's going to be our backup if we wanted some consistency at that spot.
And for me, I'm going to take it back to what we talked about earlier, and that's going to be who's going to fill the role of Neville Gallimore. I mean, this is a guy, like I talked about earlier, who's going to make that year 2 jump eventually, but he's going to miss these first couple games of the regular season. And we've got to figure out who's going to hold down that middle. Is it going to be Brent Urban, Bohanna, OC, one of those guys in there? Because we cannot get gashed up our throats like we did last year if we want to be the defense that we think we can be in this National Football League. So I got to figure out, and this Jacksonville game is going to be huge on it, who's going to fill the shoes of a Neville Gallimore.
Do you think that Trevor Lawrence is going to challenge this defense just in the early parts, especially whenever there's not a ton of starters out there?
Without a doubt. I think Urban, especially after their performance against the Saints, it wasn't up to par. So I think they're definitely going to pull out all the shots against this Cowboys team and at least get the momentum going for the regular season.
And I'm keeping my eyes on the special teams unit, and this is how you make the team. You know, game 4 for us, and you best believe Fossil's going to be trying to figure out exactly who his 5 core guys are. There's an opportunity that's there with Malik Turner, who's a renowned special teamers in this league. He's obviously out, unfortunately. So there's young guys. It's your opportunity to go out there and make some plays, show up on the film, and you might show up on a roster.
Got to find a way to show out whenever you have limited time. Also for John Fossil, it'll be interesting because offensively, defensively, you know what you have moving forward. Right. You know the kinds of players that Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn are going to be working with. What about John Fossil, though? That's kind of the leftover guys. He's going to have to piece together a special teams unit that has been better than what the Cowboys have had in the past. Now, the Cowboys 0-3 in the preseason, could go winless in the preseason for the first time since 2018. But the real question is, does it matter? We'll answer that when we come back with more Special Edition.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
Welcome into the final segment here of Special Edition from the Globe Life Studios at the Star, alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans, and the Cowboys are 0-3 currently in the preseason. Could go 0-4 with a loss Sunday against Jacksonville. So I ask you guys the question. I have a feeling of what you're going to answer here. Does it really matter if the Cowboys go 0-4?
It doesn't matter if we go 0-4. Special teams does. I mean, not special teams, but the preseason doesn't matter. I mean, in terms of the record. Now, what does matter is the grade and the report card that you get on your desk after the game. And when you show up after the game, you show up to the meeting room. The coach comes and he slaps a little stack of papers on there with a little stapler in the corner, and it has your grade with a little circle around it. That's what matters, because that's what's going to determine whether or not you have opportunity to remain on this team or not.
Yeah, Kyle, I'm going to have to give you a resounding no on that one. Look, I mean, I think the preseason is for evaluating players on an individual basis, just like you said there. And for me, I mean, when I was with Jacksonville, we lost all 4 of our preseason games and still made it to the AFC Championship. So preseason is for grading players. W's and L's don't really matter.
I learned the hard way. Coach Johnson came in, and we went 3-1, and then went 1-15. So, no, it don't matter. But for me as a free agent, it mattered every time I suited up. It mattered. Yes, it does matter for us as a player, but for us winning and losing, no.
So if you have a helmet on, it absolutely matters.
Yes,
if
sir.
you don't have a helmet on and you're a fan, it
Yes,
doesn't
sir.
really matter. Just a couple fun stats around this. The Cowboys did go 0-4 in 2018. They went on to win 10 games, went to the NFC divisional round where they lost to the Rams. And the only two 0-16 teams in the regular season in NFL history both went undefeated in the preseason. So if you really think it matters, it really doesn't. For Isaiah, Barry, and Nate, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Enjoy the game this week. Noon kickoff. The Cowboys and the Jaguars wrapping up the preseason.